This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Well, let's just say Lloyd's not playing this for me. Let's bring in the man, the myth, the legend himself. It is Christian Cox right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Christian, how the heck are you?
You know, Scotty, I'm doing pretty well. He is playing it for you. You a good-looking man?
No.
You shed a few pounds, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're down a bit.
Yeah.
And now I got to build it back up, though. There's no muscle there at all, so I got to find a way to get back at it. So I need your help there.
Well, I can help you. The gym is not fun.
It's not. That's the bottom line of this whole thing. That's never an enjoyable experience. How you doing, by the way? Everything good in your world?
You know, everything's great. We just had our 7th baby last fall. I work at a company called Filevine, so you'll probably see them on the Mammoths helmet and, at Jazz games. So in the tech world, very busy, and, life couldn't be better. 7 kids at home and lots of kids at work I got to manage.
Which one give you the biggest headaches?
I don't know. Maybe the kids at work. I would say that. And if my employees are listening, I'm sure they'll think that's true and laugh. But my kids at home, they're pretty good. Camille runs a tight ship.
So yeah. No doubt. And the flag football coach, he doesn't mess around either, for sure, with those kids.
That's right. He's back out there in April.
Nice.
So,
hey,
yeah.
So you're watching that game yesterday, and I wanted to get a guy that has played at that level and get your expertise on this. It seemed to me like you had 2 head coaches that said, okay, these defenses are dominating. We're going to play the field position game, and we just don't want to make big mistakes. And at the end of the day, one offense made the big mistake, and the other played field position, kicked field goals, and gave themselves the best chance to win.
Yeah, it was old school, right?
Yeah.
Throw the analytics out. It's one game left, and people weren't going for it on 4th down, and it was very clear. Seattle's defense was just ferocious. I don't know what the sack totals ended at, whether it was 7 or 8, but they were in the backfield all day, and they just looked more dominant. And New England's offense wasn't very strong. They really couldn't establish a ground game much at all. I think they had the lowest point totals and the lowest yards going into halftime or something like that, or going to the 3rd quarter. But I think Seattle was a surprise for everyone on the year. I think they outplayed New England in the Super Bowl, and my kids were confused because I said, I'm rooting for a player, not a team. And they're like, well, you're disloyal if you don't root for the Patriots. And I said, I really like Sam Darnold's story. I'm like, how do you not? And, the way the game ended, New England had a little bit of a 1% flicker, and then Drake May threw that big interception that just basically ended the game. And my son was actually deeply disappointed. I was surprised on how much he was into it. And tough game, but Mike Vrabel's got plenty of time to get them back in it. And Coach McDonald, man, silent assassin. And I love the Sam Darnold story. I don't know how you don't if you're an American, someone who's overlooked and been relegated at every turn and has made it happen in year 8.
Well, it goes to show how much being in the right place at the right time. Look, if an old teammate of yours named Tom Brady, people may have heard of him, if he doesn't go to New England, if Drew Bledsoe doesn't get hurt, there had to be a lot of things go right for him to then showcase his ability and be able to play at a high level. But I'm sure there's been a lot of great players at a lot of different positions who ended up going to the wrong place at the wrong time, and we never heard from them again, that could have had great careers had they gone to the right place. And Sam Darnold goes to the right place finally and ends up having a great Super Bowl season. And I think obviously location matters, but coaching staff really, really matters.
Oh, you hammer on a point that I absolutely love. Like, coaches are the difference. And I think what's so complicated for young quarterbacks going into the NFL is they don't really set them up for success. They don't get time to wait behind a really good quarterback. Like, Tom Brady got to watch behind Drew Bledsoe. Drew Bledsoe wasn't a wash-up. He wasn't some bad quarterback. Aaron Rodgers got to sit behind Brett Favre. And what's happened to these, number 1 or number 2 or number 3, first-round draft picks, they're hoisted and thrown into a wolves' den, and usually with really, really bad teams, with bad coaches who will get fired in 2 to 3 years. And it's just a really strange process to watch. Steve Young obviously had his challenges in the USFL and then found his way to back up Joe Montana, then got his turn. And I just don't know why the NFL does that to these young quarterbacks. And now you're on the next turn. Tua's out, likely. And then Kyler Murray, he's out as well in Arizona. And so it's like just a quarterback carousel. And I think, for Sam Darnold, um, I think most people would quit or phone it in.
Yeah.
And especially what Minnesota did to him, I love the story of the underdog and just brutally happy for him. And hopefully he gets paid. And Tom Brady, I think what's so cool about him is he had Drew Bledsoe, but he took his opportunity. He didn't Wally Pippet, as John Pease would call it. He took his opportunity and ran with it.
And a guy even like Cooper Kupp, who's already got rings, but you've got a team that he played for a long time in the Rams that kind of kicked him to the curb and said, we don't think you have it anymore. And he's not the player he once was, but still made critical plays down the stretch and helped his team win a Super Bowl. And I thought, there's a lot of those great storylines out there, like, Eric Weddle a couple of years ago when the Rams signed him before the playoffs and he ends up winning a Super Bowl. I mean, those are moments where guys can also elevate who they are in their career already based on a tremendous career they've had. I mean, Cooper Kupp, I think, should be, I don't know if he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he definitely should be in the Hall before it's all said and done.
Well, when you look at a guy who's won 2 Super Bowls with 2 different teams, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's Seattle's second Super Bowl. And, with the Rams, what they had done, after having lost to the Patriots originally, and then they went and obviously got a new quarterback and traded away Goff. The Cooper Kupp story is phenomenal. And obviously with Smith and Jigba getting hurt yesterday, he was kind of limping around. He wasn't, they said it was concussion, but he wasn't making the impact he usually does. But Cooper Kupp is as sure-handed as it gets. I would argue he actually did catch the ball that hit the ground, they claimed.
I know. I'm with you on that. Yeah.
It was a catch, but it doesn't really matter at this point. But I don't know. What a stud, though. I think both of those guys overlooked. Cooper Kupp was a 0-star. Sam Darnold was the USC kid who killed Penn State in the Rose Bowl and just drifted his way through the NFL and got, dealt bad cards. And now he's a Super Bowl champion. And now hopefully they pay him because he deserves the 100 million, 70 guaranteed or whatever the numbers are. And I don't know. I'm surprised. I grew up as a 49er fan as a kid. Obviously played for the Patriots. So to see Seattle have success the way they have, 2 different rebuilds, it's kind of painful to admit, but like tip the cap to them. They've done it the right way and did it with the right coach.
Christian Cox joining us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, so I wanted to talk NFL with you, but I also wanted to talk University of Utah. You know Morgan very well. How do you feel like this transition is going to go for the University of Utah?
Yeah, I've said this before. I think, when you take on, capital funding, private equity is the vehicle, you have $500 million to use to play, right? But that money does have its asks to be returned and to get its profits at full tilt. And so I'm more fascinated. Yes, you got the capital financing to work with, which Utah has struggled with, but you've got to win, right? You got to win now. I think Morgan won in the portal in terms of maintaining guys. You're not going to keep the Michigan transfers, the J.J. Buchanans, the John Henry Dailies. But overall, I thought it was a big win, in maintaining, as much of the staff as you could-ish, the ones that were loyal. Obviously, Lou Powell leaving to Michigan's a big loss, but you keep Luther and obviously Sharif and Coach Swan and getting promoted to DC. Staff continuity is a big deal. Coaches are the difference. I look back on the staff in 2008 when we won the Sugar Bowl. Like we had Gary Anderson as the DC, Kalani was the linebacker coach. Morgan moved to, the strong safety coach. Jay Hill was our special teams coordinator. And all those guys, 17 years later are DCs or head coaches and have good staff continuity. And so I know Morgan intimately. Morgan was my first coach post-mission in 2007. He was my grad assistant coach before he was promoted to strong safety coach. Morgan has the fervor. Morgan has the guts. Can Morgan build the type of staff that Kyle took him years to build? That's going to be the question. I think he's got the pieces. but time's going to tell. But no one's going to question Morgan's work ethic. And
No.
I'm more interested on other coaches he's going to bring in, not just the current staff, but like over the next 2 and 3 years, who else is going to come join him? I would love to get into coaching at some point. I'm not doing that next year or in 2 years or 3 years, but I'd love to do that. I've been doing software for a long time, but coaching is what I wanted to do. And I had two really good coaches who, said, "Hey, you probably don't want to do this if you want to stay in the same city
Yeah.
and manage your family." And these are trusted people.
Yeah.
So one's an OC and a coach, and one's passed away. So you can do the math and figure that one out. But I think Morgan's going to do great. I don't know a better, more convicted person, but it's going to be, how is he going to get the right staff and personnel in place, which he has, and then it's recruiting. How do you recruit the right type of profile and people, and then use the incentives of money, like it's not going away, of how do you attract and keep the right guys and then pay them, because it's not like when I played. It's not student athlete, it's athlete and pay
Yes.
and then go to class. So it's going to be very fascinating. Time will tell, but it is going to be different, and fans got to get ready for that. It's a new regime. Lavelle Edwards eventually left, BYU at some point. Kyle's at a different college. Kyle's coaching at Michigan. Happy for him, but it's Morgan's turn, and I'm really excited to see how Morgan puts his stamp on things in his own way while keeping the same culture and tradition of being a Utah man. And he'll do that. No, not a better person set up for success than him.
I love the Colton Swan promotion too, because I think that's a guy that has been one of the keys, the unheralded keys of what Morgan's built there defensively and why they've been good for so long. And there's been a lot of good linebackers that have come through there, and a lot of them have had great careers on the next level because of Colton Swan. And I think that was a no-brainer hire. I may have given it to Lou just to try to keep Lou in town, but other than that, I think that was the smart move to make.
Yeah, and I think Colton is, Coach Swan he's not gotten a lot of pub. I'd say the two pillars between Sharif and Coach Swan, those are his, right and left hand people. And then Luther is a big deal, right? You have Luther up there and Coach Ellis. He's such a phenomenal person. Just like business, and athletics, it's a people game, right? You are entrusting your kid's life with these coaches, and obviously there's a money component now, and that's kind of strange with contracts, but you're there to help them in their life and to get them into the next level or change their trajectory by how you manage and work with them. And I'm grateful that I had such amazing coaches in high school, and Larry Wall, and obviously amazing coaches at Utah, and then I got to see amazing coaches in New England. And so players clearly go where the coaches are. And I would love to play for a staff that Morgan is running and Coach Swan is there and Luther and Sharif. I would entrust my kids to go play for those men. And that's what you want, especially as you're going through the process. If it's all about dollars and cents and money, like Utah isn't the organization for you.
Yeah.
Utah is about legacy, and can they make you a 3-star pick and get you, first, second, or third round draft pick into the NFL. I haven't been up there. I haven't talked numbers. So maybe that is different, but that's always been the identity. I don't think the money really changes anything other than they can compete with the big boys if they need to for the right players. And that's how I would run a business, honestly.
Christian Cox joining us. All right, so I'm curious to know, at the house for the Super Bowl, is it all just gluten-free, sugar-free food? Like what's in the spread for the Christian Cox family?
One would say no, definitely not gluten-free. It's it's pizza, it's wings, it's the Super Bowl, right?
All right, just want to make sure.
No, we're not having just, I don't know, salmon and eggs and all those things. It was pizza, wings, and my kids love it. And for Thanksgiving and Christmas, we'll eat the American unhealthy diet.
All right.
You know what I mean?
You're fancy.
Fun,
Christian's fancy.
Yeah, just once in a while. Other than that, you want a dessert? Here's a protein bar.
Sure.
That's what you get. Hey, you're the best, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with us, and look forward to it. Let's do this again here soon, all right?
Anytime you need it, Scotty. Happy to join.
I love it. Christian Cox, one of the best human beings on the planet, kind enough to join us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Ute legend, Christian Cox. And that's another guy who's done very well for himself in the business sector. But keep in mind, that guy would have been doing very well had he been born about, 15 years later and been living in the NIL world we're in right now. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's time to saddle up and talk about the winners and the losers. This is the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, here's the good.
It is your good, it is your bad, it is your ugly right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Couple no's and notes. Let's talk a little college basketball. Arizona remains on the top spot in the AP poll that was released. BYU, which has lost 4 out of their last 5, is still ranked at 22nd. And I think a lot of people are like, BYU's going to drop out. No, they're not. And BYU's fine. Let's just, everybody calm down on the Cougars here a little bit. And you may ask why. Well, first off, let's look at they've lost, again, actually 5 out of their last 6. 4 in a row, 5 out of their last 6. They lost to Texas Tech. And I'm just going by Ken Palm numbers here. Ken Palm ranked number 21. Arizona ranked number 2 in the latest Ken Palm and number 1 overall in the AP poll. Kansas, you lose on the road, 90-82. They're ranked 13th. Now, Oklahoma State, okay, not great. That's the one on there where you can kind of grimace a bit as BYU lost that one, 99-92. Oklahoma State ranked 59th in your latest Ken Palm. And then you lose to Houston in the Marriott Center, 77-66. Houston ranked 9th in the AP or at 9th in the Ken Palm polls. So again, you can take a step back and be like, okay, the sky is falling if you're a BYU fan, but I would calm it down just a hair. The sky is not falling. BYU is an incredibly talented team. They're just playing in the hardest conference in all of college basketball. I mean, you look at the losses that BYU has amassed over this stretch. Arizona, and now let's just go with the AP poll. I gave you the Ken Palm computer numbers. Arizona ranked 1. Houston is ranked 3. Kansas is ranked 9th. And then, Oklahoma State, not in there.
That's your questionable one. That's your one where okay.
That's the one that you kind of like, that's not great.
That's not a good loss.
But overall, I wouldn't hit the panic button yet. I just don't think we're there yet. The one thing that does concern me about BYU, and I think Tim Lacombe brought up a really good point, and we'll continue to bring Tim on as we search for our next co-host here. But Tim brought up a really interesting point where he talked about the connectivity. And some teams have it, some teams don't. Sometimes teams need a little bit of time. And you're like, well, wait a minute. We're 23 games into the season. We're in the stretch run. The national championship game in college basketball will be 8 weeks from tonight. So, the clock is ticking, sure. But when it clicks, it's going to click in a big way. You don't want to be playing your best basketball right now. You want to be playing your best basketball at the end of February, going into March, into the conference tournament, and into the NCAA tournament. BYU will still be an NCAA tournament team. They will still have a chance to make a run in the Big 12 championship game or Big 12 conference tournament. They will be fine. Now, what's your definition of fine? Well, at the beginning of the season, we thought, okay, Elite 8. I talked to somebody the other day about that, and he just mentioned the fact that it is so hard to make an Elite 8 run. It is so near impossible to make a Final Four run. It is so difficult to make those runs in the tournament. So many things have to go right. So many things have to do well. It does your team a disservice when you say, well, they should roll out of bed and be a Sweet 16 team. Oh, they should be an Elite 8 team. Look, there's a reason why BYU has only made one Elite 8 run, and that was Danny Ainge when he played at BYU. Jimmer couldn't get it done. Last year's team couldn't get it done. And if A.J. DeBonsa can't get it done, I don't think any less of him.
Hey, if there's anything we know about college basketball, upsets happen all the time. All the time. Whether you're a 4 seed, 5 seed, those teams are losing more frequently in the first round.
Yeah.
So it's. I mean, granted, the red flag with BYU is defense. Like they have to figure out some semblance of playing a little bit of defense.
Yes.
And it should. You would think you have athletes like this. You would think, well, that shouldn't be that hard. I mean, Kevin Young's got to find a way to get some sort of defense.
And Kevin Young, I think, is still transitioning into a world of learning how to coach college. The NBA and college are just so different. And it's going to take a minute because you've got guys that have coached college. And, well, I mean, look, I was talking to David James this morning, and DJ brought up a really good point to me. There's a reason why late in an NBA game, guys will use 1 or 2 timeouts, and then that's it. There's a reason why in college, there's like 9 timeouts in the last 3 minutes of a game because kids are inexperienced. Kids make stupid decisions. You have to coach every single moment if you're a head coach at the collegiate level and you've got a staff at the collegiate level. You have to be on top of these guys nonstop. Jared Calhoun, I'll go, look, Utah State, really good team. They nearly blew an 11-point lead against Wyoming on the road. There was about 3 minutes left. Utah State led by 11. You figured, okay, they're going to park this car in the driveway. They're going to be just fine. Wyoming started hitting shots. Utah State made some ill-advised choices, turned the ball over, allowed a team to tie him up in the backcourt, which allowed an extra possession for Wyoming. They fouled an end one. They took 2 early shots in the shot clock where they could have milked some clocks. Like, there were a lot of things that Utah State did wrong in that game that allowed Wyoming to come back and have a shot at the buzzer that would have sent the game into overtime. But instead they get the stop and the Aggies escape with a win. But he mentioned down the stretch, like, these are guys that have been through the battles over and over and over. And he mentioned there were issues on inbounding where somebody who inbounded the ball wasn't supposed to inbound the ball. And it's like, we've been over this a million times in practice. How does that happen? Well, heat of the moment, a kid that's 19, 20, 21 years old, we're going to make stupid mistakes. Those kids, remember when you were that age, you're going to make dumb mistakes. Now, you get it at the professional level, guys have been around the game quite a bit longer, they don't make those mistakes. But at the collegiate level, they make those mistakes. They forget about closeouts on defense. They forget what you drilled into their head on game plans. It just happens. So the level of quality of coaching, not just the quality of coaching, but the amount you have to coach at that collegiate level is so significant. And I think it takes time. Like, Kevin Young's a great coach. Make no mistake. His staff is filled with great coaches. Is there going to have to be a little bit of adjustment on the amount and the sheer magnitude of coaching that you have to do at the collegiate level? Probably. That's probably no joke there.
But fans want them to win now. They want to see that now. There's a lot of money that's invested into this roster.
Yeah, that's true.
So they want to see results. On the other side of this, they want to see results. When you put this much money into a roster like this, you're expecting something like that, Elite Eight.
Now, if this team,
it fair? No.
No, but I will say if this team does get bounced in the first round of the NCAA tournament, then okay, yeah, absolutely. Then raise hell, be upset, because this team should be at least knocking on the door of a Sweet 16, bare minimum. All right, there's your good. Let's get to the bad.
Now the bad.
So yesterday, I saw the video when it happened. I wasn't watching it live, but certainly it made its way around X really quickly. Lindsey Vonn competed, and we talked about this last week, Lloyd. Lindsey Vonn announced that she's still going to compete in the Olympics with a torn ACL. And I thought that was one of the coolest things we possibly could have seen. Somebody out there that says, you know what? I want to compete. This may be my last go of it. I'm not letting a shredded ACL get in the way of me competing. And she competed. But unfortunately, yesterday morning, she clips a flag and has a horrendous crash in the Olympics. She has to be airlifted off of the course, and she's got a broken leg and some significant injuries. Her dad is telling the media that he doesn't know what's going on in her head, but if it was up to him, she should call it a career, and she probably will. But the injury was just horrific, and your heart just ached for her. Here is why I put that on the bad on its own. But my wife was on X, and she's thumbing through some of the things. She goes, can you believe what people are saying about Lindsey Vonn? I'm like, how can you say anything bad about Lindsey Vonn? Well, there's this viral pushback against Lindsey Vonn because she took a spot with a torn ACL that could have gone to a younger, less experienced skier who wouldn't have made that mistake that Lindsey Vonn made. And that injury led to her clipping that flag. And it just blew me away. This is another reason why you got to get off social media. And I'm telling that to myself as much as I am you, because the level of just anger and the level of just nastiness, wanting to go out of your way to be upset about something. Like some Joe Schmuckatelli sitting in his mom's basement and is all of a sudden some expert in downhill skiing. Like, no, you're not. You don't know. Like, this happens once every 4 years, and all of a sudden you're an expert in it? Shut up. You don't know. And Lindsey Vonn should be applauded. Lindsey Vonn should be heroic for what she did and what she's been able to accomplish in her career. And being able to take that course with a torn ACL and at least go for it. I mean, that's something I want to tell my kids about. It's like, hey, look, oh, yeah, you're having a hard time going to school? Well, guess what? Lindsey Vonn competed going 80 miles an hour down a course with a torn ACL. So you're telling me you can't go to school with a cough? Shut your mouth, put your on your backpack, and let's go.
You got the sniffles? Oh.
Boo freaking who. Let's go. I mean, that should be absolutely celebrated, and her career should be celebrated, not run through the mud by a bunch of keyboard warriors. And by the way,
probably on her worst day, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
She's probably pretty dang good. And I will say, I did see, she had a practice round the day before that I saw, and I was like, she looked a little wobbly at times. But of course, that course apparently is very difficult and makes a lot of people look a little wobbly on some of those jumps. But watching her on that practice run, you're like, I was wondering how it was going to turn out. And by the way, she is so fortunate that she crashed like on the second turn and not when she was going like 75. Because it would have been really bad.
Yeah.
She ended up getting a broken stick just on that part. It could have been really bad had she been going a little bit faster.
I don't think we really, truly comprehend the speeds that these people are. Like, you drive 80 on Legacy Highway, you're getting a ticket. And these cats are going 80 miles an hour
right
down
on the
slope.
edge of 78 to 80, yeah.
And it's like, what? You got to be kidding me. I know there's some back and forth on this, but there's some people that really like the drone footage and some people that hate it. I actually like it because I do think it gives you a view of truly how fast these people are going and the level of difficulty in which they're actually competing at. So I know some people don't like the drone. They want the old school wide camera view. I actually like it because I think it gives you a more lifelike experience on the views of what some of these people are going through. Where are you at on this?
I'd agree. The drone footage, especially on the noticing it on the Big Air, the snowboarding Big Air.
Yeah.
It was awesome having some of those angles.
All right. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up in our 2 o'clock hour, we'll continue to wrap up the Super Bowl, and we'll talk a little Utah Jazz. Ben Anderson will join us coming up at 2:05. We have a chance to catch up with him. We've seen Jaren Jackson in uniform for the Utah Jazz. His first thoughts, well, you'll hear from him again coming up at 2:05, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You're listening to Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome on back, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Super Bowl in the rearview mirror. It's a bittersweet day because, yes, football's over. I know. It's a long way till August. And look, I'm even a guy that'll watch preseason football because it's football. I mean, let's be honest. I'm all about football, and it's that moment where you're like, and you kind of wish the game would have been better. I mean, for multiple reasons, obviously, but you just like, that's how we're going to send off the NFL season. That's how we're going to send off football. Was that game? That's what we got to sit and let marinate for the next 6 months while we watch, too much baseball. I mean, look, I like baseball, but come on.
Not that much.
I mean, really, what's the next big event we're all looking forward to? NHL playoffs, right? And if the Mammoth get there, then let's go. Let's roll. And I hope they do because this city deserves a playoff-like atmosphere downtown, and hopefully the Mammoth are going to deliver that. But, I mean, other than that, the NBA draft is probably the next big thing we're all looking forward to.
Don't forget, we have 3 weeks off until the Mammoth return.
Oh, yeah.
We have time.
Yeah, we still got the Olympics. Yeah. Are you watching much Olympics?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit here and there. Yeah, I'm flipping it on and seeing some of the events. I like the Big Air and some of those things.
Your kids like it?
They do. They do like a little bit of it, yes.
I've noticed that, I kind of thought that the younger generation would be checked out a little bit. They're actually more involved, at least in my home, on the Olympics than I would have thought. So I was actually a little surprised by that. But, yeah, maybe it does connect right here on the Zone.